Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Monkey Business. We're back for the 2023 year in review. I'm one of your hosts, Miles Warren, and I'm joined by Carter Burwell. How's it going, Carter?
It's going great. That's an honor to be called that name.
And the enigmatic Willy Wonka. How's it going, Will?
A beautiful name indeed there as well. It's going good.
All right, so I think we're going to start off by starting our top 10 for the year. But, Carter, let's just get everyone's burning question out of the way first. Was The Monkey King your favorite movie of the year?
I did not see The Monkey King. It is
Oh
still on my
no!
it is still on my watch list. I know.
Oh
I just
no!
never got
No
We
to
can
it. I don't
stop
know
way.
recording
why.
and come back tomorrow.
I know. I've honestly forgot about it for a past month or so because I was going to get to it, but I don't know. I didn't
What
hear
a
anything.
travesty.
I know, really, really. Um, I will update you eventually when I watch The Monkey King, I assure you. Whatever podcast we talk about after I've watched it, I will give you my thoughts on The Monkey King.
My
Thank you for bringing
disappointment
it to
is
my attention,
immeasurable.
Warren.
My day is ruined.
Yes.
All right. So how do we want to do the who wants to go first? If we
I
start with our 10th favorite of the year.
I don't mind starting at with the 10 and just kind of keeping it going from there.
Okay, and we want a snake. Carter, do you want to go second or third?
Doesn't matter to me.
All right, I'll go second. We can snake.
Okay.
All right. Worst opinions first. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. So in my number 10 spot, and this one, I'm not gonna lie, it's not a very good movie, but my nieces and nephews love it so much. So it's kind of been near and dear to me for a little while. And Peaches has just been such an
Oh no.
huge part of my life that I have sneaking into number 10, the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is.
It's a pretty good year for Jack Black.
Um, it was a year of all time, but I don't know if I'd say it was a good one. Warren, what's your number 10?
All right. My number 10 was originally outside of my top 10. And then this is one of those movies that after I'd watched it, I thought about it a lot more and liked it a lot more. Number 10, I have The Royal Hotel, which is basically about a couple travelers who end up getting a job at a remote town in Australia. And at the top level, it doesn't seem like much happens in the movie. But once I thought about it more, I thought it was a really incredible exploration of how different relationships and social agreements can cross the line in different subtle or not so subtle ways. I thought it was really well done.
Dude, I loved this movie. And I looked at your list like a couple of days ago, Warren, because I was just like curious. And I saw that you saw this, and I had no idea that anyone else in the world knew about this movie except for me. I was just I was so happy that you seen this and liked it. It is amazing. It's from director Kitty Green, who is responsible for one of the best movies of the decade so far, The Assistant. And this is her second movie only, and it's a near masterpiece. It's incredible. It's just about, like, as you said, how people in different areas of their lives with different, social statuses interact with each other and how that kind of breeds tension. It's a it's an incredible thriller. Very, very Australian.
Yes.
Um, uh, Two knockout performances from um what's her name? Julie Garner, I
Julia
think.
Garner and Jessica Hennick.
Julia Garner and Jessica Hennick, who are both just phenomenal. And all the dudes in it too are really good and really menacing. Um,
I think the part that really got me though was some of the characters, they seem like such great characters off the bat. And then you don't realize it until the end of the movie, like how messed up some of the stuff they've been doing. It's just been so subtle, some of the ways they've crossed different lines that they shouldn't have crossed, and you don't even realize it at first.
mhm. Yeah, so it's about Garner and Hennick just kind of running away from their lives. They go to the outback and they become bartenders at this one like very secluded like motel thing,
And they work for Elrond.
and they work for Elrond, Hugo Weaving. It's pretty great. He's got a just super thick Australian accent, and it's it's just nerve-wracking. Just the because every night they have to tend bar, and during the day they hang out. They go to like a river and they'll sit out and sunbathe, and it's like great character interactions. And then it just like every day though, it's like the night is coming and you're gonna get another stressful situation after stressful situation. Crazy movie. Just just cannot recommend it enough.
All right, Carter, what was your number 10 movie?
Um, at number 10, since we're gonna snake, I'll just say, um, for 10 and 9, I kind of really didn't know where to put these movies because I really don't know how to fully wrap my head around them. They're just two just behemoth films that I haven't fully come to terms with yet even. They're both very, very heavy and about extreme tragedies, and so I'm really not like confident like saying, giving it a rating and putting it like, up against another movie like, Spider-Man as, for an entertainment factor. So at number 10, number 9, I have Killers of the Flower Moon from
Whoa, that
Scorsese.
low?
Yeah. And at 9, I have The Zone of Interest from Jonathan Glazer.
Mm.
Flower Moon isn't one we got to talk about, sadly. It was just kind of slipped through the cracks. But just an incredibly, incredibly moving film that is just like soul crushing at every turn. It is shot incredibly. It is just edited so well. And that's not just the editing. It's like things will happen and they'll say things and then it just like pans over to something real quick and it's like, well, that's exactly what they're talking about. But it's so subtle in a way that only Scorsese can do. And he's just on fire recently with his last three movies, really. Um,
Oh,
like
what are his last three?
his last three was Silence, The Irishman, and Killers of the Flower Moon. And it's like it's nuts that he's just getting better and better and better in his career. Like we're recording this April 21st, and recently it was announced that Tarantino he's going through an existential crisis about making his 10th movie because he's a crybaby.
Well, it's
And it's
not
like,
going to be his last
uh-huh.
movie.
I, I don't know, man, but like it just shows that this man is over 80 years old. And if you're just good at what you do and you have enough like just genuine love and care about what you do, like you can continue to make this all the way into your 80s. And not everyone is Martin Scorsese, but Martin Scorsese is Martin Scorsese, man. And it like no one can make movies at the caliber that he is making them. I saw this twice in theaters. I was able to, and I cried the second time. It is that devastating.
Mm.
The last hour, especially once everything has been set up and things just kind of it all just bubbles to the surface and explodes, like an oil well. It hurts. And an incredibly, incredibly well told story. I My Scorsese podcast is coming out. I promise. Look forward to that. I'll say a little bit more about it, but moving on. The Zone of Interest is about the Holocaust. It's a an extremely dry movie. It's like an hour and 40 minutes long. It's not that long, but it's Jonathan Glazer makes a movie every decade. He's kind of notorious for that. And this one like is his comeback after like I think exactly 10 years ago was his last movie. And it's like unlike any other Holocaust movie ever because it's about the family that ran Auschwitz. And it's about the commandant and his wife and their children. And it's about like how they live as a family. It's just these two extremes, having a family and committing genocide, clashing. And it's the most strange and again, like soul crushing and harrowing experience, like uh it like that you can possibly get from a movie. There is no not a single Jew is shown on screen, and there is not a single time where they go into the concentration camp. It is all shown from their house and from like their surroundings and the forest near their house. But they live like literally a couple hundred feet from the concentration camp. He walks to work every day. And it's just in a weird way trying to understand this person who is just like really not even a person anymore because of the acts he's committed. And it's about um cognitive dissonance is the technical term, I think. How you can be doing something like this and remove your mind and remove your morals from it. Really, that's all I can really do to explain it because it's a very, very strange one, but it's unmissable, really. Uh, a devastating movie that I kind of recommend enough. They get lighter from here, I promise you.
Hey man, you gotta like what you like, right? Or
Yeah,
also respect just the ability to turn such a unique idea like that while keeping the gravitas of the situation in
yes.
mind.
hmm
Would you like me to go for my number 9 now?
Go for it.
Wait,
Perfect.
wait, wait. We're
Oh,
sneaking, aren't we?
true.
Snaky. Oh yeah,
Sorry,
back to
sorry,
more.
sorry,
Sorry,
sorry.
sorry, sorry.
Trying to get skipped over here. All right. Number 9, I've got Priscilla. Um,
Mm,
I thought that Kaylee Spaney, I think is her name,
Yep.
played Priscilla. It was incredible. The movie, it's very fascinating, almost antithesis to the Elvis movie that came out. Was it 2022 when Elvis came out?
It was last year. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, not really.
Yeah, whereas the Elvis movie is sort of shown from Elvis's perspective and very much showing what a legend he was in all these different ways. This is very much showing kind of the other side and how difficult life was for a lot of the people around him, especially the main character in this movie, Priscilla. Um, yeah, I thought they were great performances. Jacob Lordy, I was very much not sure about at first, but I thought he was quite good, even though he only knew who Elvis was because of an animated movie.
all right, so my number 9 is gonna be Dumb Money. Uh,
Okay.
I really enjoyed this film. Like it's just a small, simple film, and I think the entirety of me putting it this high on my list of only 19 films seen that were made this year is Shailene Woodley. What I love her performance in this film. It's a simple one. It kind of glues the whole movie together. It keeps everybody inside of the reality of the situation, and it's also kind of fun to see something that happened so recently be adapted into a screenplay into cinema so quickly with kind of all the GME stuff happening and now. And I like the cast as well with Paul Dano. He's not as high up as he was last year with The Irishman. So, a little step down for him this year, but still, Fableman. Did I say Irishman?
Yes.
Ah, sorry, such a good
Gosh,
movie.
You
I
gotta hit the
say?
bingo
become the
card, man.
Irishman
You
I
gotta hit
guy.
the bingo
you
card.
got to get the bingo card every time. But with the Fablemans last year, but yeah, Dumb Money, simple film, loved it. I'd also recommend it. It's not bad if you're if you just want something light to put on in the background, go ahead and watch this film.
Awesome.
Moving into my number 8, I
Hold on.
I did
Do
hmm?
you guys have any honorable mentions? I don't
Yes.
know. I
Also,
mean, I
real
know that.
uh
quickly on Dumb Money, I
Yeah.
will say it's not every day that the three of us like a movie with a Reddit montage.
Yeah. Very true.
true.
But I would also recommend this. I think Warren would too, right? Like
Yes.
barely for you. Yeah. So like Shailene Woodley, great performance, as you said, best performance from the movie.
Mhm.
We did a whole podcast about this one with our littlest friend with the biggest heart. Check it
Amen to
out.
that.
But
Do
like
we want
I
to
I know you only saw 19 movies, but I'm sorry, but
do you
like
want to
I
just do like
have
2 or 3 honorable mentions or however many you want to
I'm
do?
If
okay
you
with that.
if you guys have honorable mentions, please,
Because
I'm super
We
interested for what you
forgot to
guys
do
have to
that before
say.
number
I
10.
have
I just
like
don't have a ton. So go for it. Yeah,
I
go.
saw more movies this year that I would recommend than Will saw movies this year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that to like flex or anything. I'm just saying
Nah,
like
that's
we're here
fine.
talking about movies. I'd love to recommend
Yeah,
some.
go
You
for
want to
it.
go for it, Warren?
Well, you probably have more, so do you want to go first?
Sure. I'll go very fast. Um, 20 to 11. Here we go. I have Polite Society, Showing Up, Bottoms, Wonka. We'll talk about Wonka. Boy in the
Yeah,
Heron.
we are.
Yeah. Boy in the Heron at 16.
Hmm.
Loved this movie. I really did. I saw it twice in theaters. It's still I'm still sitting with it. I didn't really find the emotional core in the way that I have with other Ghibli movies, but it's one that's very, very dense, and I may come back to it in like 5 or 6 years and just like kick myself for not recognizing that it's a masterpiece because it's close. 15, Poor Things. Not gonna say anything about that. 14, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. A great little, just heartwarming coming of age drama with an incredible lead performance from Abby Ryder Forston.
And
Highly
that's based
recommend
on
that.
is that based on Beverly
Based on a
Cleary's
book.
book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't even heard of it until the movie came out, but great movie. 13, John Wick 4. I think this is the second best John Wick movie. I honestly, I know you guys disagree. I prefer the even number John Wicks to the odd numbers. I think I think 1 and 3 are good. I think 2 and 4 are great. Number 12, Anatomy of a Fall. This won the Palme d'Or. It's a courtroom drama. Another great performance from Sandra Holler and the kid actor. I don't know his name, sorry. Um, but the last hour of this movie is just super gripping. Phenomenal stuff. Just a really really unique and a really unique way to present a courtroom drama, and I liked it a lot. 11, Godzilla minus one. I really need to see this one again. This could be much higher. I could be way rating this too low, but we will see. We'll
That
talk
that
about
is
this.
also we'll talk about it, but that is
Yeah.
also one of my hands down watch that movie.
Yes.
Um that is probably my number one recommended film of last year.
Really
Cool.
interesting.
Wow.
All right. Well, since Carter did it, I guess I'll just run through 20 through 11 real quick as well.
Cool.
Number 20, I have a thriller called Unseen. And then staying on the thriller line of thought there, 19, I have Megan. Don't stay on the thriller theme. 18, I have Scream 6. Still staying on the
No.
thriller theme.
Scream 6 was
17,
great. Scream 6 was great.
17, I have Clock. And then we kind of shift away from thriller a little bit. 16, I have Oppenheimer. 15, A Good Person. 14, Polite Society. 13, Killers of the Flower Moon. And then here's where it got really tough deciding what would be top 10. We've Leave the World Behind at 12 and American Fiction at number 11. But both of those are, I would say, good enough to be top 10 most years.
I heard American Fiction was great. Just sadly didn't get to it. I wanted to. I heard Leave the World Behind was terrible, so I kind of left that on the back burner.
Well, Warren likes it,
But
so
Warren likes
I
it,
really
so
liked it. Yeah.
I'm glad you did. You know that
I think
I
Leave
don't
the
know.
World Behind.
did
Never
you
know.
like it? Did you like it in a Warren way or in a Carter way?
I don't really know what that means, but I will say Leave the World Behind, I think, had my favorite camera work of the year by far.
I saw some camera work on just Instagram clips, and it looked just like try hard. So I was like, no thanks. But you like Killers of the Flower Moon more, and
I did,
I'm
yes.
I'm so happy you did because I was worried.
Wait, did you think
Like
he didn't?
I really think he didn't, man. I thought like he would
Oh.
have complaints, but like, man, that's awesome that you did, Warren.
No, there's no comedy in it. It's a great Warren film.
It's a great Warren film.
It's a good point. All right. Will, did you have any honorable mentions you wanted to throw out?
Um, the only thing I'd honorable mention, honestly, is the one film I watched this year that wasn't from this year, but it's the one that we did with Joe. What was the name of that film?
After Sun.
After Sun. Watch After Sun. That would like be my only honorable mention, and I
Wait,
can't.
that wasn't even 2023, was it?
I know, but it's like I'm
That's
gonna
okay.
mention it
That's
honorably.
his amendment from last year. He
Okay,
didn't
fair
use the
enough.
Yeah,
last
yeah.
year,
I
so
forgot. So we're gonna put that in there. Oh, if that came out 20, dude, that could have made top 5. Man. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah. Do you want me to go with
Will's on number 8 if anyone
Yep,
else
thank you.
nothing
Thank
else
you.
to say. Yep.
cool. So number 8, a lot of my films, you guys are gonna kind of see that I picked just for the straight enjoyment factor of them. And in number 8, I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mutation. This movie is
Nah, that's fire.
so
That's awesome.
much fun. Like the voice acting is fantastic. The all the turtles acting like teens. It's just great, man. The teaser for Shredder at the end, it's just a really solid animated cartoon film that you can kind of put on with anyone and everyone to kind of have a bunch of laughs. A lot of memorable quotes can come from it too. If you guys are in a family or with a group of people who watch it together, I think it's a very quotable film, and the art style is just fantastic. If you're a fan of the Spider-Man films and the Puss in Boots Last Wish movie, it kind of follows that same genre of visual storytelling. So if you're into that, please go see it. Great film.
What did you call the movie again?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant. Oh, is it Mayhem? I might have said Mutant Mission or something. I don't
He
know.
You
said
said
mutant
mutant
mutation.
No,
mutation.
mutant mutate. Hey, those mutants were mutating, dude. What can I
Oh,
say?
crazy.
But yeah, that'll do it for my number 8.
All
Awesome.
right. Number 8. I have a feeling certain other people will talk about this a little more a little later, but at number 8, I have Barbie.
It's in your top 10?
It is, yes.
Let's go. I'll
I
take that.
was very skeptical heading into the movie because Carter's been building this movie up for like 9 or 10 months now. But I will say it was an extremely enjoyable experience. We all dressed up for Barbenheimer. It was quite fun, and it was an excellent movie.
It was more than 10 months. It was over a year. My counter was at like 400 days
It
plus
really
at one point.
was.
Yeah. So glad you liked it, Warren. That goes to me, right?
Yep.
Okay. Number 8, I have Priscilla. Um, I think Kaylee Spaney gives one of the best performances of the year, maybe top 5, like of just anyone. And no joke, she is incredible in this movie. And it got like no recognition because it's not a showy performance in a movie about like a real life person, a biopic. You know, everyone wants the scene where they scream and they get angry at the end, and she's just very calm and very quiet because that's like, her character in this movie. She's just Elvis's wife. She's not like a star in her own regard, and um she just plays it with so much subtlety and maturity, and it's it an excellent addition to Sofia Coppola's filmography. She was just like, it really feels like her entire career has been building to this movie because this is just it's an incredible film. It it might be her best. It's very close. I think I have The Beguiled a little higher, but this almost took it over for me. Like, just a great film about a very common topic this year about the just overbearing, overpowering presence of men. A great understanding of feminism, as Sophia always has. Recommend it. Um, at 7th, I have The Royal Hotel.
Hmm.
Okay.
As I said, just loved this movie. Just was anticipating this since I heard it was coming out this year. Jumped on it the first second I could. It- Blown away to say the least. Kid Urine is becoming one of my favorite directors, one of the most important young directors working today, I think. Another just incredible take at how just existing as a woman in the world is almost as dangerous as being a resident of Australia. So
Uh, all right. At number 7, I've got a movie that I really enjoyed. However, I think that it wins the award for the absolute worst name of the year. Last year, I think the award went to Plane for the worst title of the year. Okay, get this. Okay,
no, Plane
so
was this year,
it
wasn't
was.
it?
Oh man, we've got quite the contest. It
I've
was
tried to
this.
block it
Oh,
out
it
of my
was.
memory,
Okay, well,
but
it's quite the contest because Plane is a terrible name. But okay, so number 7, I have Love at First Sight, which is just a terrible name to begin with. But then it's based on a book with a much better name called The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight. However, even if they didn't want to go with a name that long, literally it's about them meeting each other and falling in love on a plane. And the name Love at First Flight was right there. Oh.
Warren, you got to get into Hollywood today.
I know. Just just
I could be
just
a
for the names,
professional
man. You could be a
film
titler.
namer. Titler?
Exactly.
Yes,
Give
yes.
everything a pun or an alliteration.
Oh, I would be incredible at it.
You would.
Oh, um, yeah, this movie was really fun, just 90-minute rom-com. Haley Lou Richardson had, I think, one of my favorite performances of the year. It was a lot of fun. It kind of makes me want to read the book. Maybe I will. Well, what did you have for number 7?
For my number 7, I have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Pretty good, if not excellent, visual storytelling. This will be the new asterisk film for Will
Oh
Cord
boy.
for last year.
Here we go
Because
again.
I really this movie was a ton of fun in the theater. I genuinely thought it was going a lot quicker or a lot slower than I had perceived. And so when they cut to black at the end, I just thought that they were going to start going again. I totally blind. I'm just kind of an idiot sometimes, most of the time. And so I couldn't believe they would just cliffhanger the film like that. And then it just got me so excited for just more Spider-Man in the future. Love this film. Great sound design as well as the visual storytelling. But yeah, I think this built on the first film very well. Added a huge amount of cast members, but kept the story streamlined and no one ever got confused, even though everybody's basically the same identity, and just overall flowed phenomenally. And then to go to my number
Just real
six.
quickly for
Oh,
Across
yeah.
the Spider-Verse there, just for context. Will's sitting there in the theater. It's a 2 hour and 20-minute movie. And he
Bro.
gets to the end. He's like, what? It's only been
That's
half
it.
an hour.
Dude,
Yeah.
I seriously thought it'd only been an hour. Like it was amazing how much fun that movie was to watch
Yeah,
with you all in the theater.
it flows well. You got to give it that. But we had a great discussion on our podcast about this, about how Will has no understanding of movie structure.
Will has no understanding about a lot of
He was
things. I'm
sitting
not
there
gonna lie.
watching a 20-minute setup for a cliffhanger, and he's like, "What, a cliffhanger?"
Come on, man. Let me be surprised. I am the type of person you want at your premiere because I will react the way you envision an idiot reacts, with a lot of smiles and happy good times. At number 6, I have the best soundtrack of the year in the form of Wonka. I
Man.
love this film so much. I totally understand if you don't like it, wouldn't recommend it, hate it, 0 out of 10. Personally, this film is up there for me, guys. I have listened to the soundtrack on my own in the gym
Oh
several
no.
times. It is so good. Just where else can you get the new classics? Like just like was it put your hands into your pockets and get yourself some Wonka chocolates. And then you have Scrub, which is good. And was it Sorry Doodle? No, Goodbye Noodle. Anyway, I love this film, love the soundtrack. Timothy Chalamet slaying again, man. Love it.
Um,
Glad you liked it, Will.
I'm glad I like it as well.
this is bottom 5 of the year for you, right, Warren?
No, I totally get that.
It
Like,
was,
again,
yes.
totally understand that.
I
I
I don't
personally
understand either of
love
your
this
3
film.
points. I can't believe you love it this much. I can't believe you hate it this much. Crazy. I mean, it's top 20 for me, as I said. I think it's great. Um, 3 things to say about Wonka. One, I I expected to hate this movie. I really did. I didn't even want to see it, and then you all took me to it, and I was like, I was converted, man. I was like, it's a pretty great movie. That
Wonka
really, really won me
believer.
over. Number 2, it's not a Willy Wonka movie. There's not a second, there's not a frame of this movie that I believe that Timothy Chalamet was going to turn into the Willy Wonka from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I think that's okay. You can just view it as a happy little movie, But like, they are not in the same universe. You cannot convince me of that. Um, 3, I saw somewhere, I don't remember where, but the soundtrack, I'm not into the soundtrack personally. I heard something that like is just so on the money, and it said every song from from Wonka sounds like a Backyardigans song.
That's why I love it
And
so
I
much,
was like,
man.
yeah, that is exactly what every song sounds like. It is like you could imagine yeah, Pablo and what is it, Shaniqua
I don't
singing
know.
their songs. And Tyrone.
All right, Warren, what's your number 6, brother?
All right. Number 6 was a movie from early in the year that I went and saw with Carter without knowing much about it at all. Ended up really liking it. A movie called Missing. Um, one of those movies that is really good because of how it's framed at first and how things get flipped on their head. And I thought that really great. I guess it'd be classified as a thriller. Would you classify that as a thriller, Carter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I'm looking at this film on Rotten Tomatoes. Is this another one of those movie as told through a Zoom call type films?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Warren, we gotta talk, man. These are not good movies,
Actually,
bro.
oh, there's another movie very similar to this that came out like a decade ago that was one of my favorite movies of that year too.
Crazy.
All right, Carter, what do you have for number six?
I have missing in my top 30. It's number 28 for me.
Okay, we'll
I
take
liked
it.
it. It's just it's okay. I it was a good movie. Like I don't know that I'd say two thumbs up, but it was a great theater experience, and I legit did remember it came out this year. Um, yeah, sure. What am I on?
Number six.
Six.
Number six, I have Barbie. I've said everything I could possibly say about this. It's one of the funniest movies of the year. Greta Gerwig is undefeated. Um, yeah, uh, should have won Best Picture, but
Should have been nominated for Best
it made a bar
Director.
billion dollars at the box office, so
$1 billion.
that makes up for it. And that's my top six. Do we want to
All right.
take a pause?
I mean, your bottom five.
All right, so we're going to take a brief intermission and jump to our three least favorite movies of the year that we saw. If we're going to talk about the most valuable player, got to talk about the least valuable player. So, Will, do you want to start us with the your third least favorite movie of the year? That's a tongue twister.
So all three of these films I didn't like for different reasons. The first one, the best of the worst at the start for me is going to be John Wick 4. And I think the reason for this is I watched all three of the John Wick films the night before this one. And so I'm pretty sure I was just so oversaturated with just the style of it that I didn't have enough enjoyment left over for
We
it.
we watched it
And
over like the course of a month.
nah, I think I rewatched them all at home the night before. Like, I'm dead serious.
For our listeners who can't see what's going on, Carter is absolutely
I'm
losing his mind right
dumbfounded.
now.
It's probably, yeah.
Dude, you can't tell me you watched like the nunchuck scene through the glass and be like,
Dude,
yeah, this is the worst movie of the year.
Carter, Carter, I felt nothing, bro. And
That's so sad.
I know, man. I'll have to go back and watch this again.
That's so
This
sad.
this is 100% going to be a rewatch in the future. But off the initial reaction to it, it did nothing for me. I didn't like none of the action felt fun. Like none of the story beats felt earned. And I'm pretty sure that I'm just I was just maybe in the wrong mood for that film that day, but it just was boring and I think too much. Um, and I think some of the magic of John Wick kind of wore off for me by the time I watched this fourth one. So if you're a fan of action movies, please watch the John Wick series. It's great. I do love film ones through three, and so this one is definitely gonna get a rewatch in the future. I just don't know when. Sorry, guys.
Dude, just in terms of like action staging, this is the second best of the year. Like I can't even like I'm not even upset or mad enough to fight with you, Will. I
He's
feel
just
really bad
disappointed.
for you. I'm so sorry that like
Yeah,
you
no, like
feel any
I kind of
dude,
feel
like
that way as well. Like I can
man,
tell that what's going on screen is fun and they put a lot of heart and time and energy into the movie into just how the fight scenes are going to unfold, even like going around in Paris and all this stuff. And the movie just opens up so fast, like you're already fighting, there's already blood, there's already people getting shot. You have just such unique kind of character design in a few people as well. It is memorable. I just think it was the right move or wrong movie, wrong day, or right movie, wrong day, and just
yeah,
yeah,
dude.
this one is in my bottom three because it kind of hurts me to say that I don't like it or
Okay.
that I didn't like it that much.
Man, if you said like you and Daniel came out of the theater and were like, yeah, that's our least favorite John Wick movie. And if you said that, I'd be like, yeah, okay, fine, sure. I disagree, but understandable. But like, man, that's sad, dude. Like
I think it's because I've
I
gone back to this one a lot
I
as well. Like I've kind of rethought over it and gone, nah, I really didn't like nothing landed that
yeah,
day.
dude, I've seen it twice and I liked it even better
Hmm.
the second time. It's just like these movies are just getting more and more magical for me, I
Hmm.
think. I think it's way too long. It's the longest and it does drag at certain points, but they all drag at certain points. So I'm willing to
True,
overlook
true.
that. like, dude, the hotel raid is just the greatest thing ever. Like them going from bow and arrows to the him like fighting with Kane and the nunchucks, dude. Are you kidding me? And then Kane versus the leader of the hotel is phenomenal. I think it's one of the most like it's like the most beautiful looking one. Like there's
Mm,
the shot of him with the cherry tree and the red lines in the background. It's just amazing. It's got some of the best, like most profound moments in this series, I think, where like he comes to him and he's like he talks to the one hotel guy, the hotel leader from in Japan. I don't remember his name, sorry, but he says like, eh, his daughter's like everywhere he goes, he brings death, and he's like, he's my friend. I have to stick with him. And then he's talking to John, and he's like, when does this end? Like, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, you think you're in the wrong? He's starting to question how massive this crazy world has gotten. I I hope I get this correct. Hiroyuki Sanada is the leader of the one hotel. Just an unreal performance. Just an acting performance and a physical performance. And when he's talking to John on the rooftop, he says something like, he says the table will never stop. They're never going to stop hunting you. He says they only take life and they only give death. And then John says, um, I'll just kill them all. And then he replies, he says, I believe you'll try, but no one, not even you, can kill everyone. And I think that's just like that's become the running theme of the series now, where it's like it's a joke, but it's also kind of like it's just very Sisyphean. Like he's just created this wave that he can't undo, and he's just running from it and running from it and running from it. And I just like become more invested in this series as it's come along. Um, I- I've had like literally the inverse of Will. Like before this one, I wasn't like a huge fan of this series, and now I kind of am. I think two is the best one still, but I think this is second best. Like 2023 kind of like weirdly it turned me into a film bro. I am a film bro now. Before 2023, I was not a fan of the John Wick series, and I wasn't a huge fan of Christopher Nolan. And now I am a fan of the John Wick series, and I am a fan of Christopher Nolan. So it's funny how things work out.
50
dude,
points
that's
to
awesome.
Gryffindor for using Sisyphean in a sentence.
Uh,
Well, when
but
when I do rewatch it, I'll be sure to invite you, and I'm sure we'll have a great time.
solid. Love this movie. Just second best action movie of the year, really. The
Mhm.
shotgun scene where they're just throwing fire and the camera goes up. Oh my gosh. Like it's unbeatable. I'm so sad, Will. I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah,
Really.
again, I'll give it a rewatch. This is the movie, as I said before, I went into with the most hope, the most just like I'm gonna love this film, and I just didn't. So I just think wrong movie for the wrong day.
Understandable.
All right, for my
All right.
third least favorite movie of the year, it's Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Oh man. This is a top three for Will.
We may be
He's
talking
kidding. He's
about
kidding.
this
He's kidding.
later, but oh man, I think it's I kind of like Chris Pine. Like I like a lot of the actors in this movie. I just could not stand this for so many reasons. Maybe part of that is it Hugh Grant who's in it? Is that the British guy? Hugh Grant?
Dude, I
It's
don't know.
Hugh
I
something, I
watched it
think.
once and I was like, this movie's whatever.
Whoever it is, cannot stand that guy.
Okay.
Don't worry, it's not in the top five, Carter. You
Okay.
can
Okay.
you can
Okay.
calm down.
It is Hugh Grant. Yes. Maybe it's just me, but can't stand that guy. Anyways, yeah, this movie went all over the place.
Okay.
Uh, could not stand any of the characters, could not stand the plot, could not stand the costumes, could not stand this, could not stand anything.
Wait, did you not like him as an Oompa Loompa in
I did not.
Wonka?
Dude, he really hates Hugh Grant, man. What do you have against Hugh Grant?
He's British.
Jeez.
So's Benson Boone. Don't you love him?
You didn't like
What?
Hugh
He's not
Grant's
British.
like
He's from
I don't
like
know. I
Utah
make
or
things up.
something.
his little
California.
song at the credits, dude. That was hilarious of Wonka.
Maybe that's
That
why
was
I didn't like Wonka.
amazing. Can't believe it.
Wonka was a close contender for bottom three. Uh,
Mm,
all right, Carter. What have you got at number three? Does it have Hugh Grant in it?
it does not.
Are you sure?
My third least favorite film of the year is Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
Yeah.
Oh, we had such high
Yep. Yep.
hopes.
Yep.
I did, man. It had a big monkey in it. I wanted to love it, and I just didn't. And I went to the theater and I saw it with my sister, and she had fun, and I wish I had fun. But man, these movies suck
Yeah.
so much.
It's
It's
genuinely terrible.
disgraceful. Like the Michael Bay made his five films, and like there are, a few weirdos that are like, oh, they're actually really good.
Hey, the
But
fourth one was pretty good.
oh my gosh, the fourth one's the worst, dude. What's wrong with you? But like it's the general consensus of the movies, those movies suck. And then
Yeah.
Bumblebee came out, and this movie came out, and people are like, oh, the Transformers movies are like they're kind of getting good now. They're not. They're not. They're just not, just because they're not Michael Bay bad doesn't mean they're not still atrocious, man. There is just no plot with these things. The CGI is not good. The action is boring. The human characters are just you like pick any Transformers movie at random, you will not find worse human characters in a movie that year. Guarantee it. It's disgraceful. It's so sad. I don't want to talk about or think about this movie anymore.
In other news,
But back to
Transformers
you, Will.
1 in other news, Transformers 1 in theaters September 20th, 2024.
What is that, like 20th anniversary?
I don't know. I don't really care, but
I
I
don't think
might
I
go
ever
see
saw
it.
the first one.
It's a completely animated one, so
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Oh, the 80s one.
Yeah,
Hey,
in
that's
2024
that's
though,
valid.
with Chris Hemsworth and Brian Tyree Henry as well. So, you know, should be fun. All right. So for my
Wait, no, we're
second,
still staking. We're still staking. So now it goes to Carter.
all right.
Somebody has not
Okay.
played enough fantasy football.
Second worst of the year. Um, 65 with Adam Driver.
Is that the dinosaur movie?
Yes, Martin
Wait, you saw
Scorsese.
that?
I did with Ryan, my good friend, our
Oh,
target
yeah.
audience. Martin Scorsese claims that Adam Driver is the greatest actor of his generation, and I almost agree. But Martin Scorsese has not seen 65. Atrocious. It's like we saw do you guys remember seeing the trailer
Is
in
awful.
theaters?
Yes.
It was like, this like kind of like alien ripoff thing, and it was like kind of atmospheric and moody, and Adam Driver was walking around with a machine gun like on an alien planet, and then they go into a cave, and then a T-Rex comes in, and we're like, what is this movie? That's the movie. It's like, what is this movie? But it's never fun. The dinosaurs aren't even real dinosaurs. They're just like weird lizard things that they made up for the
Carter,
movie.
I hate to
Yeah.
break it to you, but it'd be a little
Uh-huh.
difficult to bring in real dinosaurs for a
It
movie.
would, yeah. But I mean, hey, second time in 2 years that a dinosaur movie makes my bottom three, man. Let's I was gonna say let's stop, but David Robert Mitchell may contain dinosaurs. The man with three first names is coming back to save dinosaur cinema, man.
Save the
Maybe he can do it.
dinosaurs.
Yep. Don't see this movie. Doesn't matter how interesting it looks. It
True.
is the exact
Yep.
opposite. I have nothing to
Agreed.
say about it because it sucks.
All right, number two, least favorite movie of the year that I saw, a little movie called Bruiser. And I'll be the first to admit that I think I just didn't get the movie and didn't understand it because I think it got pretty good reviews in general. But yeah, it's about like a rocky relationship between a 14-year-old boy and his dad, and I think his
That's your thing.
stepdad. And yeah, it's a very strange movie, very strangely paced, and I didn't really get why any of the characters did what they did the entire movie. Very strange movie. Will, what did you have for number two?
All right, so my second last one, I will preface this with we've already talked it into the ground. But I don't like this movie. If you enjoy it, total respect. And my second to last worst one is Oppenheimer. So
Really?
yeah,
Now
yeah,
that is shocking.
explosive even.
Not really.
Warren, what's your second to last worst? Or
Nope, we're still snaking.
Beast favorite
and then for
film.
my worst film of this year is hands down Hot Summer Nights. Like,
That didn't come out this year.
That was not
hey,
this year.
I
Oh,
was forced to
yeah,
watch
yeah,
it this
yeah.
year.
Okay, we're really stretching. This is the second time Will's brought up movie from the wrong year.
Doesn't matter, man. Also, the creator. This film is an abomination to cinema. Do not see it. It means nothing. It does nothing. It will never be loved, and nobody loves it. That's it. Worst movie of the year by miles.
Warren, did you see the creator?
I did not.
Okay. Creator talk. Here you go. 5 minutes. Don't let us go longer than that. But I did not hate this movie as much as Will. Warren kept saying like, "Oh man, it looks like a great movie," and like
The
he
trailer
was
looked
so hyped to
incredible.
see it. And I like w Will, you would agree with that statement, right? Before you saw
100%.
it, I think yeah,
100%.
I was on board, man. This man directed Rogue One and Godzilla, and I was
Mhm.
like, let's go. But this has the same exact problems as Rogue One. It's the same similar movie as Rogue One. That's the reason I hate Rogue One.
Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie.
Yeah, I know. So it, you watch this, you see the cracks though. I, I like, man, Will walked out of this and he's like 1 out of 10, worst movie of all
I
time.
was
I was like,
dude, I felt like I wasted my time.
really? Okay.
Like,
I,
genuinely, it was not worth the 50 cents.
I, okay. I think it's like it's such an interesting movie to think about for me because it's nowhere near the bottom three on my list, but it's
Mhm.
not good. I would not recommend it. But I think the concept of it is really good. I think the concept of Nomad, the massive, they say like the $2 trillion, military experiment that the US worked on, this giant thing that flies in the sky and just can bomb anything it flies over in an instant is I think like it's a it's an ingenious and almost like horrifying concept, and it's a great setup for a science fiction movie. I think the idea of like how they split up the worlds into the various governments and their allegiances with AI is very interesting. The universe in general in this film is very interesting. It's a very neat looking sci-fi movie. It looks incredible from a cinematography perspective. It has a very, very small budget relative to like Transformers and Indiana Jones and other movies that came out. It was made for $80 million, I think, and like the average blockbuster is like 200 million. I think that's a great thing that like someone can take a story and make something for that, much money, and it made it bank at the box office. It did great. Very good thing, very positive thing for movies, I believe. It was shot on location.
Doesn't part of the movie take place in space?
Yes, a very brief part.
Did they shoot that on location as well?
Yeah, they did.
That's incredible.
Uh-huh.
And they stayed in budget too.
They
That's
did. Crazy
wild.
enough, isn't it? I know. Um, it like I just listened to some interviews with some crew members and they used very, very like cheap cameras, like very accessible, simple cameras, like not massive Christopher Nolan IMAX things. I think that's awesome that, you can just be a craftsman like that and build an awesome movie from simple, simple stuff. Like I'm kind of going to bat for this movie a little bit because like I think the first 20 minutes are very good. I think it's an interesting, it's a very, stereotypical, like, war-hardened guy who's kind of done with it, but gets dragged back in. I think the first raid on the underground base is great. I think the everything in its right place scene is great. Great song. And then it's really about halfway that it just falls apart. It's the kid and everything that has to do with her. Not a bad performance, atrocious character. Because everything positive that I said about this movie goes out the window when you examine it from a character perspective because very similar to Rise of the Beasts, it is some of the worst human characters of the year. It is just like movies are stories first and foremost. You have to tell a good story, and this has nothing. It just ridiculous attempts at emotion. every flashback is not even a movie flashback. It's more of like a jewelry commercial. It's
Ooh,
just
that's actually a great way to say it. Yeah.
that's all I was thinking about. I'm like them running on the beach like a romantic couple. I'm like this is not trying to get me invested in his marriage. This is trying to sell me a wedding ring. Like it looked that stupid. It's just proof that you can be at the top of your game. And if you don't have a good story, you are nothing. And it's very sad to say because I was rooting for this movie. I wasn't bored during this movie. I was ready at every turn for it to, pick itself up and become good at least a little bit, but it never did. It just got worse and worse and worse. And yeah, very, very sad. I wouldn't in any world call it the worst of the year, but it's one of the most disappointing of the year. I'll tell you that.
I think the only thing those are some fantastic points. Yeah. I think the only thing I'd kind of push back on a little bit is like the budget aspect of it, because I was just looking up, and some of them are completely different styles of films. I'll give you that, and where they rank on, but like inside my top five, I've got a
Everything Around
bunch
the
of films that are
Irishman.
made under like 15 million, right? So I don't think it's like the greatest point because 80 million is still a ton of money, bro.
It's a ton of money, but for what they did, it's impressive. Because
All
of all
right.
the CGI at the end, them flying to like Indonesia or wherever, I think it was Thailand or Indonesia, and then setting up all the sets there and doing all that. The CGI looks great with all the ears, I think they're not making Little Miss Sunshine or Everything Everywhere All at Once in this. It's all relative, the budget thing, I think.
So, one of the things I looked up was, well, I'll just say like Godzilla minus one was $15 million budget.
Yeah. So,
So, like, I'm just saying that movie looks so good, man.
uh-huh, yeah. That's a Yeah. I mean, you put those in the ring, it's a knockout in one punch, obviously. But that's just because
One
Godzilla's pretty
aspect of
big.
the American
filmmaking, I
studio
guess.
system
Yeah,
is embarrassing. Yeah.
that's yeah, I'll
It's
concede
it's
on that.
everything I've
I'll
said. Like
concede
it's
on
of
that.
all the
Yeah,
positives that I've said, you have to take it with a grain of salt. It's like
that's fair.
we're scraping right now because it's up against Indiana Jones and Transformers. We're grasping at straws. We're like, please give us something good. The creator comes along. Oh, that could be good, and it's not. Of course, there are good things about it overall.
That's fair.
You know,
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair.
John David Washington is awful. I'm very sorry. Um, his father, one of the greats, really, but he is like blander than a slab of wood, man. He has no charisma whatsoever. I cannot believe like he's like getting leading role after leading role after leading role because he's attractive, I guess. I don't know, man. Like it's very strange. Please take acting classes. Nothing
Uh,
against the dude, but
all right, least favorite movie of the year was also Hot Summer Nights. Just kidding. That was not 2023. My least favorite movie of the year. It's a movie I was looking forward to very much because it was a sequel to a TV show that I was a big fan of the first 5 of 6 seasons. The last season was terrible, but this movie, I was beginning to have my doubts when one of the lead actresses turned down the movie because they offered her like a third of the money they were offering the rest of the cast. And so they already did not have one of their best characters. And let me tell you, absolute worst dialogue and movie I've possibly ever seen. And I am, of course, talking about Teen Wolf, the movie. Oh, man. For
I didn't even know that came out this year. I'm
their
not
action,
gonna
like,
lie.
I'm not saying that all the actors are bad actors because I do genuinely like some of the actors in this movie, but the dialogue, atrocious, 0 out of 10. The acting in this movie, atrocious, 0 out of 10. Nothing about this movie is better than like a 2 out of 10. It features such incredible writing with lines such as, when is a door not a door? When it's ajar. I don't want your life, little fox, but I do want your tail. Did you see your eyes? How would I see my eyes? They're what I used to look with. Don't underestimate anger. I've got a feeling the answers are in Beacon Hills. I have claws that drip paralytic venom and a tail that can snap your neck. Take your hands off me, old man. We're not done yet. The game is mine. Do you want to talk about that bullet or do you want to keep asking me children's riddles?
Warren, did you actually watch all of Teen Wolf?
I did. And I did not even, for this movie, I did not even pay 50 cents. This is a movie I probably should have paid 50 cents not to see.
All right. Carter, what's the worst film of the year?
Worst film of the year for me, far and away, is Hot Summer Nights. Yeah. My least favorite film of the year, uh, far and away, is Indiana Jones and the Dial of
Yep.
Destiny.
Yep.
I like eh, everything that you two have said about your least favorite, like the worst dialogue, the worst characters, your just disappointment and boredom and feeling like you've wasted time, just almost anger
Yeah.
this could like be made. It, it it all comes out for me in Indiana Jones. I didn't want to see this movie. I think we were disc golfing and we went afterwards. I was like, all right. And there's nothing redeemable about this. It is the worst. I was talking to Mr. Jacob and he was like, dude, it's better than 4. No, it's not. No, it's not. You're crazy. There's nothing exciting about this movie. And in 4, there's like there's some good, there's some interesting stuff. There's some funny stuff. There's some monkeys.
There are some monkeys.
And in this, it's crazy how this movie takes itself as seriously as it does and like literally thinks it's making like the next Indiana Jones classic. And there is no life in anything
Wait, Carter, nothing
anything
exciting? You
that
didn't
this
think
movie has to present.
Archimedes solving time travel was exciting?
It's
And to
just
Katana.
stupid. It doesn't make sense. And like he doesn't even like get like he wants to stay in the like spoilers for this dumb movie, Indiana Jones 5. He wants to stay in the past because he figured out a way to time travel. Like I don't care about that stuff in Indiana Jones movies. They're all goofy and fantasy. But he time travels back to ancient Rome and he wants to stay and hang out with Archimedes and just, live the last 2 years of his life there, learning about math.
I
And
believe
and they
Archimedes was Greek.
whatever. The Romans are attacking. And um and they knock him out and they drag him back to his own time so they can make a 6th movie. Makes me sick, man. Just it's just an embarrassing film. Um, James Mangold, stop making movies, please. He's making the Bob Dylan movie now, and man, that's that's already a hardcore contender for worst movie of 2025, man. Like, this dude who had like so much promise as a young filmmaker is just becoming the biggest sellout of all time. It's embarrassing. It's tragic. I hate this movie.
Man, those are harsh words considering the guy who directed one of Joseph's favorite movies, Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah,
Wait, he directed Night and Day?
yeah. It's crazy how you can go from something like Ford versus Ferrari, which is very,
Wait,
very
Logan was really good too.
technically well done. Logan's not that good. Not really. No.
I really like Logan.
Logan has the same problems as the creator for me.
Oh, maybe
But
all
that's
I'm hearing is I'll love the creator because I loved Rogue One and Logan.
Warren, you will never watch the creator. You will just say till the end of time. Oh man, the creator's probably a
Probably.
great movie. I should see it.
True.
Legit. It's Taika Waititi at hardest downfall of all time for a director, and it's like James Mangold at number 2. So stop making movies, please.
All right. Well, now that we've gotten all our negativism out of the way, do we want to go back to our top 5 favorite movies of the
Yeah.
year?
Oh yeah.
Sure.
So I believe we're on Carter. If we
Okay.
return to our original snake rotation.
Do we want to just say number 5 and then get soundtracks out, or say?
I mean, I already said soundtrack,
Okay, let's do soundtracks.
But that's a musical. I want to talk about like
I
score.
like the sound of it as well.
I'll be honest, I was going through trying to think about this, and there's only one movie that I actually went out of my way to listen to the score afterwards.
Okay.
So there are only kind of two that I'd consider for my favorite score of the year. I guess I'll go ahead and say them. So the, the only scores that really stood out to me this year were Oppenheimer. Shout out to Ludwig Göransson for winning his Oscar. And I really like the score for Love at First Sight.
Okay.
Hang on, I'll
Very
look
cool.
up who did that. You can go ahead and talk about yours while I look that up.
So I'd kind of go along there. Is I don't really recall any of the scores. And the only one that I really can think about, and is therefore probably the best of the year, would be Oppenheimer. So I'll give it up. Like it's good. It's memorable. Um, yeah, there you go. But I don't really remember any of the other ones. It is a failing of mine that I don't tend to listen to the score while I'm watching a movie, unless it's something that sticks out so incredibly obviously that even I pick up like, oh, it's fun. So
Solid.
All right.
Cool.
Love at First Sight soundtrack was Paul Saunderson. Shout out to Paul Saunderson.
Shout out to Paul Saunderson. Awesome. So, yeah, Oppenheimer's very close for the best soundtrack of the year for me. Ludwig Göransson got his Oscar. The dude is awesome.
yeah.
I think like maybe the best thing Nolan ever did was break up with Hans Zimmer.
Don't say that.
Because no, strongly say that because man, Göransson is just dude is awesome. He's such a great composer and like he really did deserve his Oscar,
This
I think.
generation's Hans Zimmer.
Okay.
Speaking
I
of
think
Hans Zimmer, I'm going to see him in concert in a few months. I'm very excited.
yeah, like that is pretty awesome. Not
It
gonna
that,
lie.
that sounds pretty fun, yeah.
Um, I I thought the Godzilla Minus One soundtrack was great. I thought that
Mm.
was just awesome. The Godzilla Suite 2 song on that soundtrack is like song of the year, dude. It is unreal. It's amazing. Can't recommend it enough. May December had a great soundtrack. That's a weird adaptation, so I don't know if that counts. Across the Spider-Verse, just incredible soundtrack. I think that movie just like
Talking about
I'll
the
say it in a
score or the
second.
soundtrack?
I'm talking about both, but really the score, man. Like
Okay.
it's incredible from Daniel Pemberton. Just knocked it out of the park. Yurskin Fendrix for the Poor Things soundtrack. Uh, say what you want about the movie. Soundtrack was awesome. Best soundtrack of the year for me is the Joe Hisashi comeback, The Boy and the Heron. It is
Mm.
like easily soundtrack of the year, and it is one of the best soundtracks of his career. It is worth it to see the movie just to listen to his music. It is just otherworldly. It's hard to describe in words. Like he has made so many incredible soundtracks over the years, and this one just is like almost top three for him, which is crazy to say. Um, give it a listen. It is amazing. It should have been nominated and should have won an Oscar for real.
You know what I was kind of upset didn't have a better soundtrack this year? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume, was it 3? Yeah,
Mhm.
Volume 3. Like, I don't know. Sometimes it's fun to find some oldies in those films. And besides Crazy on You, which obviously I already knew, but that film, it just felt so flat in terms of the musical choices for me. I don't know if that's something that stuck out to you guys, but I figured I'd kind of bring it up here.
Yeah, Warren will talk about this in a second, but I said this back in, June or May or whatever. Like, yeah, I think it's the weakest of the three in every aspect, unfortunately.
Not a fan
Yeah.
of Florence and the Machine.
I love Florence and the Machine. I really do. Yeah, Dog Days Are Over is like, yeah, incredible. Incredible way to end it. But yeah. Eh.
All right, shall we move on to our top fives?
Best ensembles, real quick. I'll
Okay,
say
okay.
because for me,
But they're in my top five. Okay,
okay, you don't
sure.
have to give all right, you don't have to give them out. For me, like
Yeah.
I have Wonka at like maybe the best of the year.
No, you don't.
What?
Bro,
Dude,
I don't even have Wonka's best ensemble.
seriously, dude, I thought like
No.
that was the greatest thing in the movie. Like how they like the five or six of them that live in the house and all do
Uh-uh.
like the laundry and stuff are all just
No.
they're so funny and they're so happy and they work together
Sorry.
so well. How are you gonna have Wonka at your sixth
Wait,
favorite
okay,
movie
what
and
do
be
you
Because
like,
have
I
best ensemble then?
because I thoroughly believe in my number in the ensemble pick I've chosen. And I
okay,
definitely put it
fair,
over
fair.
it.
Well,
How are you defining ensemble?
an ensemble is like not just the lead, but like how it's the cast, how the
Yeah,
entire cast,
okay.
especially the background characters, all work together and how they come together.
I thought you were talking about just one scene there. Okay.
No, it's not one scene thing. Um, Other great ensembles, Godzilla minus one,
Hmm.
phenomenal.
Yep.
Across the Spider-Verse for voice acting, if that counts,
Yeah, sure.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Why not?
Um, Oppenheimer,
Yeah, I'd probably
unreal.
say Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I like like just every single person that pops up, like from the people you know to the people you've never heard of before, just knock it out of the
Cast is
park.
absolutely stacked in that movie. It's insane.
Yeah,
Get to like the 30th person in the credits. You're like, what? That's an incredible actor.
that's yeah, it's wild. Um, Bottoms had a great ensemble, just a ton of like new talent popping up and like just knocking it out of the park, just with incredible comedic chops. Excited to see where they go. And Barbie, obviously, just another not quite as deep as Oppenheimer, but
Yeah.
almost there, where like they all did phenomenal work.
Hmm.
You're not going to nominate Scream 6?
Nah,
Maybe nominate half the ensemble in that one. All right, well, since we're waiting on Will to pick his ensemble, should we move to our top fives?
let's go for it.
All right. Do you want me to start with just five or five and four?
Now we're still snaking and we're on Carter.
Oh,
He's in the
Carter.
middle of his snake. He did ended on 6. Now he's starting on 5.
Okay, I got five. So my top five were all just remarkable, truly, and it
Mhm.
was so hard to narrow this down. It was hard to narrow it down to five and to knock Barbie out of the top five, but it had to be done. And uh, this movie's gonna get a lot of love, so I feel okay. But like it does seem like crazy to me to put this like at number five. But at number five, I have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Mm.
Just absolutely lightning in a bottle. The best action movie of the year for me, in my opinion. Like best animated movie of the year. Like one of the best animated movies of the century. Up there with like, Puss in Boots from last year for sure. The first two Kung Fu Pandas, it's that good. And the first Spider-Verse, of course. If there is any compliment you give this movie is a worthy compliment for this movie. Like there is just so little wrong about it. It is so fun. It has like maybe the best cold open first 20 minutes I've ever seen in an animated movie. I Warren had great insight on it, how it's like pretty much it's Gwen Stacy's story. I loved that so much. She is just a phenomenal character throughout this one. Uh, Colors and explosions, and it was a blast.
Yeah.
Um, Remarkable.
Good pick. Good pick.
All right, number 5. I've got Pinball, the Man Who Saved the Game. I believe this is technically a biopic about, I forget what the guy's name is. It's about an actual guy who helped make pinball machines legal in New York City, which sounds like a very strange idea for a movie, and I would agree. However, the acting in this movie is incredible. It's such a fun little random movie. I just saw off a whim because I like somebody in the cast. Ended up really loving the movie. It was fantastic.
Love that for you, Warren. Really, really do love that for you, man.
It stars Mike
Mike
Feist, who is one
Feist,
of my favorite actors. Yes.
but you don't like West Side Story.
No.
Shameful.
All right, so my number five, I would also preface this with we can adjust anything on Carter's magical score sheets or what I've said in previous podcasts. But in kind of thinking about these five films that I've kind of picked, and I'd also give Spider-Man a 10 out of 10 as well. But all top five of mine, I'd kind of give solid 10 out of 10s for various reasons. But I love these films. Two bits, two pieces, and some of these films I think are very important. And for that reason, my first 10 out of 10, number five, is going to be Killers of the Flower Moon. This movie is a masterpiece of acting, of writing, of cultural appreciation, of honesty, of storytelling, of screenwriting, of care and tenderness, of loyalty, of heartbreak, of betrayal. Like it has everything you need and so much more. And it just punches you in the gut over and over because it's a story that should, need, and now has been told. Martin Scorsese is one of the greats. Yeah, he just is. He's fantastic at what he does, and he's got a big heart for what he does as well. I'm so excited to keep watching more films of him and just kind of going down the journeys that he has left throughout cinema. But this is far and away, I think, one of the more important films to come out for some time, and just the acting in it is absolutely incredible. And just every single person in this film gives it their all, whether it's just in how the sets are designed, or to how shots are angled, or the delivery of one line to as a side character. It This film is probably perfect. It's not my favorite film of the year, but I would say that this film is perfect. And the ending of this film is so well done and so unique and just so open and honest. And it kind of takes everything that you've watched throughout the entirety of the film, and then it just puts it right there one last time in its entirety, honestly. And it kind of teaches you that the story itself is compelling enough for you to listen and watch, and that you don't always need the film to go along with it in order to be compelled towards somebody else's history and somebody else's story. And I think that's what I love so much about just the ending of it is you're at peace with the story that's been told, but it is not a peaceful story. But yeah, 10 out of 10. Watch this movie. I think it can move you in such a beautiful and unique way. But Kills of the Flower Moon, 10 out of 10, hands down every day.
Easily. It will move you. Um, the final two scenes of this film they haven't left my mind since I left the theater.
Yeah.
They are just incredible. Like the second to last scene, like someone says the word insulin and it makes me cry just because of the Lily Gladstone's performance in that movie
Yep.
and how just how soft and calm she looks at people, how she can just lift her head or lower her head and you feel it like the entire atmosphere of the room has changed. And the final scene especially in a year of stellar endings, like we could make a top 10 endings of the year list,
Easily.
but this one would be number one. Like it's that good. It is unreal how good the final scene of this film is. It contextualizes just everything about the movie and everything about how we tell stories like this, and it really makes you think about it in a very it's a very confrontational way to look at movies and to look at real life stories. And I think it's very disturbing and it's very sad, as the entire film is, of course.
Lily Gladstone, definitely one of the best performances of the year.
She should have won the
100%.
Oscar. Stone is
Yep.
great, but man, like Lily Gladstone, maybe the performance of the year.
Yeah. All right. And so then my number four film, and the film I have is the best ensemble, which from what Carter read off might be a hot pick because he didn't say it, is The Holdovers. I think
That's
this
not really
movie
an
is incredible. Well, Carter didn't say it in his ensemble pick list.
that's like
What Warren was
three
gonna
people.
say,
An
yeah, what
ensemble
Warren
is
was gonna
usually
say
like
is
a
like
lot of
it's
people.
like you got like three lead characters
Three
there.
lead
Like
characters, every so not so the love interest
it's
for
different.
what's her
It's much
face?
different from Wonka though, where like everyone in the house kind of is they work together, become like a team, you know.
Sure, but I think the chemistry of like the five of like the three main and the five characters also works well at the dinner party scene.
Hmm.
It works really well when she's at her sister's house. It works really well when Paul Giamatti's character is meeting the parents and the principal. I also think it works really well at the beginning of the film when you have the few other boys who are also there at the beginning of the holdover season,
True.
um, who kind of have these different personalities. And even the main character, the young boy helps out the one kid who has like night terrors as well at the start. And I think that for the moments where it does have a larger cast, it holds up so well. So I kind of understand that where it is a few small characters, but I think that the three of them, their chemistry is phenomenal. They are a family for this film. And when you bring in other characters, they bounce off really well. They have meaning. They're well acted. They're kind of well responded to. Even like the simple bar scenes, I feel have a good connection and kind of way of having the main characters interact with the outside world, even though they've kind of just spent this whole time cooped up together. It's a very, very simple movie that has such wonderful emotional heartstrings that get pulled, with just inner struggles and inner turmoils, and the ability to find a friend in the unlikeliest of places, right? Just two characters who are so against each other, and not in this way of good versus evil, but just in a way of how to deal with your expectations of yourself and what to do when you find out that it lacks where you thought you would be, or what you could be, or what you think you should be. And to kind of see the way that these characters navigate through love, through loss, just through the holidays, through being a little bit strange, but their strange is their only version of normal. It is such a wonderful, small little tale that has small, beautiful payoffs. Um, with characters learning to stick up for one another, to embrace hurt, to embrace one another, to surrender things to to someone who you'd rather keep yourself from as well. It's a remarkable small little film that has such a huge, wonderful impact if you just kind of give it a chance. Um, I think you could initially be turned off to it based on just, the style of it. It just kind of seems like this.
I don't see how.
Well, I think it could be seen as this, it's a small town film where, oh, grumpy guy gets cheered up by young kid. I'm not gonna watch it. I think this is just a film that should be watched by everyone in a different way than Killers of the Flower Moon. It in the way that Killers of the Flower Moon is an important monument of cinema and of cultural preservation, The Holdovers is a beautiful story about just emotional connections and living life with one another, even when you don't want to, and about giving other people, including yourself, a chance. Love this film. 10 out of 10.
That's so awesome to hear. That was great. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Great insight, man. Dude, like I came out of this like saying like I can't like even imagine anyone not liking this movie. Like it's just so good. I'll say more about it later.
So just a real quick note. I think what Carter was going for with the ensemble question was
Mhm.
ensemble cast, which is and
Oh, did I misunderstand?
and I
It's
quote, a
pretty
dramatic
common.
production with many main actors who are given roughly equal amounts of screen time, as opposed to the popular model, which gives precedence to a single protagonist. So an ensemble cast would be like Knives Out or Little Miss Sunshine, a movie like that, where you have like essentially, five or six or seven or eight main characters instead of
E-
one main character.
Exactly. So I didn't
Okay.
totally get it
Okay.
right because like Willy Wonka's the main character, but like Knives Out, like Anthony Elmaris is the main character of that. So but like
I think the question is more like best
everything
cast.
pretty much, but like
Yeah.
not really best cast because
Because like best
everything
cast, I stick with holdovers.
because Will everything you said about the holdovers and the performances of that movie, I 100% agree with.
Mhm.
It's just a definition issue. It's like I don't know
Okay.
that I'd say because it's three main characters jumping from here to here to here
That's fair. That's
instead
fair.
of the cast together the whole movie in
Then then
something
then
like
I'd say
Godzilla minus
Barbie.
one, where the cast
Yeah.
is that movie and they're together the whole time and they're doing their plans and stuff.
Mhm. Then I'd probably say Barbie, would be
Okay,
like my best. It just
there
large
you
cast
go.
that works well together, who have a ton of fun, believable chemistry, and just a lot of ups and downs, highs and lows, and everybody kind of has a unique personality inside of being that large group, right? No no
Mhm.
no one's individuality is lost. So I'd go Barbie then.
Perfect. Yeah, stuff like Barbie and Godzilla minus one
Mhm.
and Bottoms, even though they have main characters, it'd be something that
Okay,
heavily relies on its ensemble.
cool. But yeah, please, again, with all my top fives, please go see these films. They're
Yes.
fantastic. See the holdovers. Watch it with some friends, man. It's a great uh film.
All right. We're at number four.
Yep, four for Warren.
Okay. Number four, I've got Creed 3. This movie, I really like Michael B. Jordan's performance. It recently reminded me of just today actually. I saw an interview with Naomi Osaka, who's one of the best tennis players in the world, and there's an interview with her where she was talking about how since she became a parent, her perspective on both tennis and life in general have changed, and how even in like her training, she used to just be able to practice her swing, her serve, or whatever for like hours on end for the entire day. But now everything's all about efficiency because she has someone at home who's relying on her, and how her perspective changed on so many things. And I think that comes out a lot in this movie with Adonis Creed and his daughter Amara. And I thought that Michael B. Jordan did a really good job in that, just displaying a, a different. There's a shift in the character between these movies, and even though it's still kind of the same type of movie at heart as the earlier Creed movies, this one I thought did a much better job of um, displaying what it means to him and why all these things that happen hold such importance to him and why this fight matters so much to him. Carter, what have you got for number four?
Um, cool stuff, Warren. I wasn't a big fan of Creed 3, unfortunately. I wish I was, but
Mhm.
very much a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 situation for me where I was like, it's just the weakest. I think they've just lost steam. I love the stuff about parent, father-daughter stuff. I wish I felt more. I didn't. At number four for me, I have The Holdovers. Um, di disclaimer, this is the only film in my top five that I've only seen one time. So like even at number four, I could be underrating this, but it's an easy 10 out of 10 for me. Everything Will said about John Wick, I like him leaving the theater and feeling empty. It like was it's completely the opposite of how I felt after leaving this movie. It's just so full of life and humanity, and
Yeah,
it's like it just makes you happy. Like I haven't felt as fulfilled coming out of a movie during the theater this year than I did with the holdovers. It was just it's absurdly beautiful, I think is like great way to describe it for me. Um it's it's a coming of age movie kind of, I think, in a little bit.
yeah.
Which is something I really wanted to hit on, I forgot to say, but I think this year is the year of the coming of age movie. Like I said last year was the year of the action movie, and I would say this year is the coming of age movie. I think Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret? I think Priscilla, Eileen, this movie, The Holdovers, May December in a weird way, Poor Things in a weird way, Barbie in a weird way. They're all I think like
And if you like Polite Society,
Polite Society, exactly.
Polite
Yeah, that's what that
Society.
was on. Yep, there you go. Just a year full of incredible, incredible coming of age movies in any genre and any style you want.
The Little Mermaid.
No thanks. Is Little Mermaid top 20 for you, Warren? No, we went over this. It wasn't.
It's close. It's
It's
close.
close.
The music in that movie is awesome. Everything else, not so
Oh yeah,
much.
the Little Mermaid soundtrack.
That's not really a
Who
soundtrack,
would have
though.
thought?
Well, I mean, it's a soundtrack. It's not a score. The
Yeah, that's fair.
soundtrack is
Yeah, I
great,
know.
though.
Yeah, I know. Crazy. The whole diverse. Um, it's Alexander Payne is like I got into him this year. One of my favorite directors, instantly. He just understands people. He understands how generations interact with each other so well, and it's just shown
Yeah,
so well in this movie. It's uh, it's a movie. How about like anybody can connect with anyone else. Like any two or three or four people can find friendship in each other. And The Holdovers isn't about like it's not a movie that says, "Oh, they're actually a lot alike," because like the three people in this, they aren't alike at all in any way. But anyone can connect with each other, and it's just about human connection and about how human connection is the most important thing in life. And it's a great Christmas movie, especially in that case.
Yep.
Um, yeah, like last year, I would say See How They Run would be my recommend to anyone
Yeah.
film. This year, my recommend to anyone and everyone film is The Holdovers. Just you have to see this, please. See it with friends, absolutely. I wish I could have watched this with my mom, but she would not have liked it, unfortunately. Might have dipped after the second F-bomb. But it's something that like if they like that kind of stuff, they're gonna love this if they can get past a little bit, you know. Um, it's masterful. It's so heartwarming, but it's not
This
cheesy.
yeah,
Yeah.
unlike I think every other film on this list that I would want to watch at the right time in the right mood or with the right friends, I could watch this movie by myself nonstop all day. And as Carter said, be fulfilled every single time. It is this film I really believe could become a classic if just more people would just watch it. And I hope it becomes as timeless as it deserves to be.
Not to douse too much water on the flames, but this was in my bottom half of movies for the year.
Ooh.
Boo. Also, huge shout out to Joe for getting me a copy of that wonderful,
Medit
wonderful book, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Dude, we haven't talked about how funny this movie is
This
because
movie
it
is
is what it's like
so funny.
it's almost the best comedy of the year too.
It
It's
is.
just like it hits on all cylinders and it hits all its marks. It's amazing. So many great insults
Yep.
in the movie.
But it's
Uh
it's like funny in the way
it's
that like a Coen's Brothers movie is funny. It's not trying to be like this like
kind of,
jokey
yeah.
jokey comedy.
Yeah,
It just is funny because it observes life, and a lot of times life is funny.
it is, man. Yeah, it's a great Christmas movie. It's a great movie for a snowy day or a rainy day.
100%.
Um
100%.
and it's just I felt fulfilled after watching this. Um
Glad to
Can't
hear
recommend it
that, man.
enough.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
It's absurdly beautiful. Love it.
Yep.
Is that
All
my
right.
three now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The
Top
big one, the big ones.
three. Yep. Um, again, Holdover's only seen once, so you never know. But I've seen Asteroid City twice, and Asteroid City is my takes the bronze medal for me. Um, Let me go on my rant about this one. Asteroid City, it does what West does a decent amount of times, and it's stories within stories within stories. You know, there's it's a radio show about a play about a city in the middle of where, you know, no, not Las Vegas. It's Nevada, I think. I don't know. But it's a film about storytelling pretty much. It goes back and forth between Edward Norton's dealings and his writings and his relationships with the cast and crew, with the play itself that's happening, and it switches into the actual titular asteroid city where everyone there is having their own struggles and you know trying to get along. It's one of the best directed movies of Wes Anderson's career. It's just there's these just beautiful, like intricate long takes that are able to just fully display every inch of the town that they actually built for this movie, which is amazing. And it's still able to keep his signature style that looks quirky and silly and symmetrical and flat, and it looks just gorgeous. Performances are amazing across the board. It's confused a lot of people. My argument for that would be it's supposed to be confusing. It's like people are saying, what is this about? What is it trying to say? What does it mean? It's about people who all come together and meet at Asteroid City during for because of some event in their life, and they're all just stuck there because something happens. It was written during 2020, and it's, you know, you can tell because has, you know, pandemic influence kind of because everyone's stuck and rotting away in a place they don't really want to be in. But similar to the holdovers, it's just about how like anyone can, you know, find connection in random things. It's a lot less like melodramatic than the holdovers. It's very, you know, off kilter like West does, but um it's more trying to evoke a sense of mystery and paranoia. Okay, here's my Wes rant. Uh, as I've said in this podcast, I think the most important thing about movies, especially American mainstream movies, is storytelling. It's just what is the text about? What is the subtext about? And the reason Wes Anderson is so popular isn't because of what he does with his camera or because the jokes he tells with his actors. It's because he tells incredibly unique and original and engaging stories. Like, if something like The Royal Tenenbaums or like Life Aquatic had been directed by like Ron Howard, people would come away from that movie saying, "Wow, that was a really interesting story." It's a shame the directing was awful, but like, it's very there's a hook there. It's engaging, and that's what West excels at. This isn't something that's really recognized a lot about him, but it's why he's not just a fad. It's why he's stuck around to now and will continue to stick around for a long, long time in the future, I think. It's very Coen Brothers-esque, I think. And that's maybe a reason I like it, but it's very reminiscent of the Coen Brothers, and there's just questions about the universe and about man's place in it and about like, the sense of cosmic dread that these characters are feeling. And every all the characters in the movie are constantly saying they're constantly talking about how nothing makes sense, how they're all confused. And a lot of them are scientists, and they're all using science to try to figure out what's going on, and they really can't get anywhere. And it's funny and it's interesting, and it just kind of makes you, at the end of the movie, it's like you're kind of just supposed to acknowledge that like we'll never fully understand everything about the world, and that's okay because, they've all come to this place, and a couple of them have found, some good friendships at the end of the day, and that's what it's all about. It's, uh, Ryan in particular watched this and kind of came away with like saying like, What is this about? What is it supposed to mean?" And at the end of the movie, a roadrunner he does a little dance, and I think that's what the movie's about. I think if you understand that scene, you understand the movie. If not, it might go over some people's heads. But I highly recommend this. It's very silly, it's very strange, and it's extremely memorable, and it's stuck with me for a while. It's almost Wes's best film. I'll say that. I thought about this for a long time, and I was like, did he do it this year? Did he make his best movie? And I don't know. It's definitely top three, but I think Fantastic Mr. Fox is a little better.
You
So
say that's his number one?
yeah,
Wow. Nice.
but it's that good because
Okay.
it's so close. It almost rivals that for me.
All right, Warren, what's got your bronze?
All right, number three. Won't spend too long on this because we already devoted an entire podcast to it, but got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Um, Completely loved the movie. I loved how heartfelt it was. I thought the High Evolutionary is incredibly well done. Great villain, also great Marvel Snap character. Although I hate playing against High Evolutionary decks. But I mean, what other movie is going to have you tearing up at a CGI raccoon talking to a CGI otter? Ah, just incredible. Enough to move you to tears. Will, what's your bronze medal?
So these top three, man, kill me to put in any particular order. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Uh, I will probably change this order at some point, but this is kind of what I've got. But in third place, with the movie that I've seen the most, but is just enough to get it to top three, is Barbie. This movie's amazing. It tells a story that needs to be told. It's got a lot of good humor, a cast that loves working together. And at the end of the day, the Oscars suck. So, that's really all I've got to say about that. Um, do you guys have anything to add? We already kind of devoted a ton of time to Barbie. Okay, so my number two,
Can't decide.
can't decide. Okay, you know what? Yeah, my number two in silver is Godzilla minus one. This movie is incredible. It is a 10 out of 10 in every way. It looks good. It feels good. It hits every single story beat you want a monster movie to hit. You even care about the main characters and their story. You see Godzilla out the gate. Like it is the sound design is great. Just the world building is fantastic. You feel so much and you have so many very different interactions that happen. And just how these people in the midst of one tragedy into the next have learned to live together and to grow together and to care for one another. And then kind of that fear of kind of reaching out and feeling again can, oh man, like this movie is amazing. I wish there were better words to say for how much I really love and adore this film. Like how the warships kind of look when they're fighting Godzilla, how Godzilla's like breath ray looks, just the sound design behind it as well. The like the demolishing of the cities, all the small talk that happens. Uh, this and it's so good. And now Godzilla is an Oscar winning IP. So it please, dude, I don't want to talk about this film. I just want to watch this film over and over and over again. Go see this movie. It's so much fun,
It's
and
so
it
good.
is also so good. Carter, you're gonna probably
Yeah,
say so much more eloquent
I
stuff than I have, but
man,
I love this movie. I love this movie to bits, and I've told everybody I know to go watch this movie.
yeah, like please watch this movie. Similar situation to Holdovers because I have this at 11. I've only seen it once though, and it really could go up, but it is just it's amazing.
Mhm.
The sense of just humanity in the midst of horror that happens in this movie is just so incredible and so moving, and it's just yeah, it's like it's hard to even describe how good this one is, because like. Because it's the best Godzilla movie. I've thought about this a long time, and I'm sitting here and I'm calling it. It's
Yep.
very close.
Yep.
It's the best one. I haven't seen them all. I've seen a chunk. I mean, I've seen, less than 30% probably because there's so many. But there's no way the other 70%. I've seen the good ones, okay? And this one is the good one. This one is the great one. It is remarkable.
Yeah. Yeah. So watch this film.
Hmm.
And if you know somebody with a home theater, watch it on their home theater because this
Yeah.
is not a small screen film in any way, shape, or form.
If you have a home theater, invite us over and watch this, please.
Daniel, we love
To,
you.
to anyone listening,
I will buy this movie and then we're gonna watch this movie again because this movie is awesome. All right, Warren, what's your second place? What you got in silver?
Very pointed comment there. All right. Number two, I've got the Marvels. I don't think I've ever seen a movie that felt more like a graphic novel than the Marvels. It was incredible. Amon Zlani, definitely one of the performances of the year.
he's leaving.
All the scenes that had Kara, Monica, and Kamala together, phenomenal. The three of them play off each other so well. All, all the scenes of Kamala's family, incredible. All the family dynamics, hands down, just second best movie of the year. Carter, what have you got for your silver medal?
Oh man,
Warren, are you going to tell me that so far two out of your top three are Marvel movies?
I
Just
think
wait till we
three out
get
of the
to number
top three are
one.
Marvel movies.
No.
Oh
What can I say? It was a weak year for movies.
no, it wasn't. It's
Such a good year for movies.
I
crazy.
saw more than twice as many movies last year. There just weren't that many movies I was interested in this year.
Maybe that's the reason.
That's a you
Maybe
problem,
you have
bro.
to watch 100 Hulu rom-coms in order to truly consider it a good year, man.
Hey, he hasn't said anyone but you yet. Or was that this year? Please tell me
That
that
was
was
this
this
year.
year. Okay.
Keeping this over.
He could have been number one from his
Now that was
last year,
indeed
man.
2023.
Oh, by this year I meant 2023.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay.
It did not make the top 20,
Tragic.
but it was a fun movie. All right, Carter, what have you got?
Um. Okay.
Top two. This is it.
Yeah. So 6 through 3 for me are all just super fun, upbeat movies. just you can throw them on anytime and watch them. They're hilarious and they're amazing, and I highly recommend them. And my top two are just they're downers, man. They're just woof, oof. Um, so number two is Oppenheimer. Just
Sure.
masterful, in my opinion. I've seen this 5 times. I've seen this 4 times in theaters. It took me 4 watches to truly come to terms with this, but I think this is Nolan's best movie. And that's saying a
Really?
lot, I know, but I really do think it is.
Man.
I I stand by the like even if it's like maybe tied for first, um
With
it,
with Dunkirk, I'm assuming?
no, with
Or no?
maybe The Prestige, I think.
Really? Okay.
Inception's
Yeah.
definitely its best movie.
There
There's a
you
lot
go.
of there's a lot of
Nolan's got
debate on
something for
this,
everybody.
but regardless, I think the last hour of Oppenheimer is just the best work he's ever done, just ever. Like he may make 20 more movies and never top the last hour of this movie. The the bomb scene starting it and then everything that happens after that is unreal. It's like uh, and the first 2 hours are incredible, incredible, don't get me wrong, but like there's the discovery section in the first hour where we learn about Oppenheimer and it sets up everything and it's kind of a that's kind of your great biopic about how learning about this man and what he's like, how he becomes him, what he's done, the events of his life that lead him to make the decisions that he makes. And it's still a very, very complete picture of J. Robert Oppenheimer and who he was. And then the second hour is all about the tension of um, the race at Los Alamos and building the bomb, trying to figure out how to build the bomb and when the bomb's going to go off. And like even on multiple viewings, like you still feel the dread of approaching the testing scene and the testing scene itself. And I you guys have only seen this once each, right?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
and
Okay.
took an entire day to watch pretty much.
Yeah, I mean like I sound dumb saying this, I know, but like man, like you really need 2 watches to understand this, because like I did at least personally. Um, once you can see the entire picture and see how everything is from a bird's eye view, each scene just becomes much richer. Anytime there's mention of the Chevalier incident, you hold your breath, and like even though you know the outcome of everything that happens in this movie, like all the tension is still there. It still carries it throughout it. Just it's amazing. And the last hour is untouchable. The collapse of the two careers of Oppenheimer and Strauss, played by Robert Downey Jr. in like, his best performance, like easily. And every character from the first hour and first 2 hours comes back in some way. They all have to answer for their crimes. Um, this is Nolan's like it's the closest he's come to making a Scorsese movie, I think, in terms of like his themes with like themes of guilt
Yeah, I can
and
see that.
how man turns progress into evil and self-flagellation, pretty much. Um, all of that. And like the themes of masculinity and self-destruction. Downey Jr. said it in an interview. It's about how men are evil and men run the world, and the world is evil because of it. Just incredible quotes. Like the first thing he says out of his mouth is something like, "You cannot understand my actions and the consequences of them if you don't understand the context of my life." And he's reading this as a statement to plead his defense to not the not the judges, but the council. And then we're off to the races, trying to understand the context of his life. And it never makes the argument that he's a good person, because he's not. But like I said, all the themes of just guilt and just it's like I don't know, you guys haven't seen Mean Streets, but it's Mean Streets. It's you put your hand as close to the flame on that candle as possible before you can get burned. And this movie just kind of encapsulates that. Someone says to him, "No one knows what you believe. Do you?" I think that's a That's a great line that like, he's supposed to be the great salesman of science, as they say, and he's just a man. We put so much faith and so much trust, and we lift people up on our shoulders, people like him. But everyone is human, and everyone is like, I go so far as to say inherently evil, and you can't hold people to a higher standard in the way that we hold certain people to a higher standard like this. Um, it's weirdly one of the most moving films of the year. Um, I've seen it 5 times, cried during two separate incidences. I don't remember exactly when, but it's just stayed with me ever since I left the theater on the first watch, even though I wasn't a huge fan of it on the first watch. It just lingers with you. It's an incredibly absorbing experience. It's a dangerously relevant film, and it somehow it is the more emotionally touching July 21st blockbuster of the year. And these things are hard on the heart.
Yeah, dude, that was well said. Real quick though, the only thing I want to touch on is, do you think that this is RDJ's best role? You said.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
role and performance is a different question because he's
Mm.
iconic as Iron Man,
So,
like
performance then,
maybe
yeah.
like the Avengers or like Age of Ultron is like, or Infinity War, I guess, like his peak. But like he's never done better work than he has in this. And that can go for like almost anyone in the cast.
Because I'm probably a broken record about it, but Zodiac, if you've never seen it, or have you seen it?
Zodiac is one of my favorite movies. Yes,
Yeah,
he
like
is incredible in
I
that.
think he's so good in that. And I'll be honest, I love RDJ in Oppenheimer.
Hmm.
Great performance. I just was curious as to whether you hold that over, or how much of him you'd watch. So
Yeah, I mean Zodiac is like his second best performance for
okay.
sure, because we're talking about performances again. But
Hmm.
like a phenomenal movie. He plays a detective, and he's snarky, and he's got a gun on his shoulder, and he's always holding up notes and saying stuff, and that's who he is. But he's just a fireball in this movie, and it's something like he's never done before. So
Cool.
deserved his Oscar.
That's awesome. Yeah. Do you want to get into your number one, or should we?
Does it go to me for number one?
Yeah, because
Okay,
snake eaty time.
okay. So my favorite movie of 2023 is called May December, and this is a movie starring Natalie Portman, Julianne Moore, and Charles Melton. It's a I mean, it got pretty popular, but I don't know if you guys, I doubt you've seen it.
No, I
It's
can't say I've even heard of it, honestly.
okay. It's from a man named Todd Haynes, who, just for context, like whenever like a new movie is going to come out from a, established director, if I'm interested in it, I try to watch a couple things that they've
Wait,
seen,
are you
at
talking about
least two. Yeah.
Riverdale Charles Melton, isn't?
Riverdale Charles
Okay.
Melton. Yes. Um, I, I've done this in the past. I did it with Mark McDonough last year for Banshees of Inisherin. That's just one of many. It's just I like to try to understand, their work and what they've done. I view movies the way I view music. You don't, listen to a song because it's in a genre you like. You listen to a song because it's from an artist you like. So, I got into Todd Haynes this year. I started with Safe, and then I went to Carol, I think. Um, and then over to a couple more, and he has like almost immediately become a top 10 director of all time for me. He is a legitimate mastermind. And it's like me putting this at number one is pretty much just me wanting to talk about him and gush about this man because he is one of the greats and he is just not talked about as one of the greats like ever. And that's like, I don't know, perplexes me because I think his filmography has blown me away. Um, May December is about like it's about tabloids and cultural memory. Like a way to describe it would be about like it's about the casualties of life and living and how our lives just leave behind broken pieces and trails of like of wreckage that just affect people. And it's pretty much Todd Haynes just charging full speed ahead and saying two things. And number one is him saying that he is the reincarnation of Ingmar Bergman, and number two saying, maybe movies shouldn't really exist at all. And I am down with both of those statements, and I fully agree. Um, so just because I doubt many people have seen this, it's about a woman in her 30s who has an affair with a 13-year-old boy. And she goes to prison, and when she is released from prison, they get married because they are quote unquote in love. And it picks up 20 years after that event, where Natalie Portman is an actress who comes into their small, quiet town, and she is going to interview and study Julianne Moore, who was the woman, and because she's going to play her character in a movie, because Portman is an actress, and so she wants to know how to portray this woman correctly and understand her. So like the first half of the movie is kind of like it's like part investigation, part true crime, kind of like a take on the true crime genre. And Natalie Portman's character is kind of the audience surrogate in this case, and she's like figuring out, the events that have occurred to this family and unraveling the mystery for the audience. And in the second half, you realize how really demented Natalie Portman herself is because she's an actress. It's in a much, much different way than how Julianne Moore is. Someone calls her sick in the head, and she's not really that, but she's obsessive and she's egotistical. And that's a huge part of this film, the reveal aspect of it, because characters aren't really, no character in this film is really fleshed out in typical fashion. No one has an arc, really. No one has character growth or anything like that. It's just a film about just digging up the past, and the character development per se comes from things being revealed and the past coming to light and us figuring out what happened to these people that made them the way they are, like why they are the way they are at this point in time. Um, it's a film about how evil people can be. And it's not about like some great evil. There's no villain, there's nothing like that. It's not even like in a way that Oppenheimer is about evil, in a way that like, like how humanity can collectively be so bent on its own destruction. It's just about it examines standard human behaviors and practices, and it's extremely uncomfortable and disturbing. But it's not uncomfortable in a way that like Poor Things is uncomfortable, or even like Zone of Interest is uncomfortable, because it's about how evil is found in just everyday occurrences and in certain unchecked behaviors that can just absolutely destroy people. Um, there are multiple scenes in this movie where it's barely a movie anymore because in certain interactions, like characters say things and like I've just felt my stomach turn because I've I would just like it would stop me in my tracks because I would just say to myself, I have literally heard someone say those exact words, or I've witnessed someone make that exact face or act in that exact way in order to try to manipulate someone. And I've never even been in a situation remotely as bad as this one. Don't get me wrong, but it's something that like Todd Haynes just understands people so well, just too well. It becomes scary because he's able to just dissect evil in this way. Um, it, he's made a career kind of about people who are outsiders in society, and sometimes these characters, they rise above their prisons, but most of the time they're trapped in them. This is a case of all three characters reopening scars, and everyone, in this small community, they talk about how happy this family is. Charles Melton himself, he's like, I don't want to be seen as a victim because I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim in this situation. I love Julianne Moore, and I've had a great life. I have, great children, and I've everything has worked out fine for me. But it's you can just feel it under the surface that just everything about everything is wrong. And there's like so many strange decisions in this movie because like there's a weird soundtrack that's like piano and flute. and it doesn't seem to fit the movie at first. But once you get invested, it starts to like make sense in a roundabout way, and it just adds to the tension in the end. Um, like something that starts seemingly cheesy at the beginning just becomes just fully fitting at the end. And one of the last shots is a pull out, a zoom away from Natalie Portman, and the piano plays after reveal. And if you just watch that scene, it's weird. But if you watch the whole movie and then see that, it's chilling. It's like crazy how well Haynes can construct something like that. But like he never takes predictable routes or cliche routes with his films. He's always tackling themes that are so unique and so bold. Like pick a movie out of a hat that he's done, and like you've never seen anything like it. It's remarkable. Um, and it's really in the last 30 minutes of this of May December that lock it in for me as the best of the year. It's like the characters have built this glass bomb and they're so proud of it and they display it so confidently, and then at the last 30 minutes it just blows up and they have to confront how they truly feel, not just how they wish they feel, and not just how they've been gaslit to feel and how they've gaslit themselves to feel. Um, one of the one of the scenes toward the end, Natalie Portman talks to Charles Melton and she's trying to comfort him and says like she kind of slips up because she's an actress studying for a movie and she says, stories like this, and he cuts her off and he says, stories like this, stories? He goes, this is my life. And then he runs out of the room and just cries. And Charles Melton is top three of the year. It's Gladstone, it's Melton. I don't know. It's maybe Julianne Moore, maybe Cillian Murphy. Toss up, but those two are a lock. I know for sure. Yes, Warren, Riverdale Charles Melton gives like maybe the best performance of 2023. It's just soul crushing to watch. It's a soul crushing movie, and it's a heavy watch, but it's Haynes is just one of the best storytellers of all time, in my opinion, and like point to any movie ever, and Todd Haynes has probably made a better version of that movie. So that's my number one of the year. A little long-winded, um, but like I, I can't even imagine anything being above it.
Interesting. Never even heard of Todd Haynes before.
Many people haven't, and it's sad. Like I had barely heard of him. I knew of the movie Carol. That's a pretty popular one, but I was just like saw that Natalie Portman and Julianne Moore were making a movie, and I'm like, you know what? I've meant to watch a couple movies from him. I'll get into him. And here I am now, and just like a changed person because of it.
All right. Number one favorite movie of the year. Once again, movie that we have talked about at length. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Something a common theme between the
Awesome.
three of us.
Awesome,
Yeah.
dude. Awesome.
Just the level of attention to detail in this film and how much work was done in the animation process is absolutely mind-boggling. And how for like one of the characters has a different frame rate than everything else in the movie. There's so much just absurd level of detail in this movie. Carter was talking about the soundtrack. The soundtrack's awesome. The score is cool. The voice acting, I would agree. I would put it up there with best performances of the year, even though it's just voice acting. Um, yeah, the story is incredible. The way that they frame the story with Gwen as the main character is really cool. There's nothing not to like about this movie. It
Wait
was
one
my
second.
only movie I gave a 10 this year.
Is that 2 years in a row that an animated film has been our um highest rated film together?
Highest average.
The highest average film?
Let me think
Because Puss in Boots
about
Last Wish was
that.
last year.
Probably.
That was
And
our
then
highest
yeah,
average last year,
and then
wasn't it?
this year, like I give it a 10 out of 10, but it's not in my top five.
Oh, you're talking about like numbers wise or like on our list wise?
I think both. It's like I give it seven.
Will, you had it at six?
Seven.
Okay. Either way, I
Yeah.
think it might
Because
be
7, 1, and 3 for you, right?
because I
Or was
think
it
it's
Did we all give it a 10 out of 10?
I gave it a nine.
I
Okay.
might not have in the score, but it deserves it the more.
You
I've
gave it
definitely thought about it a ton.
you gave it a 9.5 and called me a stickler for giving it a 9. I remember that. I was like, it's I give it a whole number. What do you want from me? You gave it a 9.5, almost a 10, but not quite. Ugh.
It's a 10 with an asterisk. What can I say?
Yes, it is. But man, it's impossible not to like, as Warren said, it's becoming one of the best trilogies of all time, and
Yeah.
we haven't even got the last one yet.
Oh yeah.
Remarkable. Um, yeah, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like, you could just take any frame of this movie and hang it in the Louvre. It is that good. It got a rare Warren 10 out of 10. Only movie 10 out of 10 from this year, he says, but it's like the only, it's like only one of three he's given 10 out of 10 in his life. So
Lauren, that is a phenomenal pick, man.
it is.
All right, well, what have you got as your number one movie?
So it is Polite Society for me. Straight up at number one. It's a small movie that was, I think it was only in theaters for like 2 weeks, and it's just got so much heart. Like Kung Fu Bollywood British coming of age story. I love how at this, in kind of the same vein as the holdovers, you have characters that kind of stay true to themselves while they are growing. A lot of times in like worse movies, you'll see a character who kind of abandons everything that they were in order to change one minute thing about them. And here, characters kind of just realize that maybe they're being sidelined into a different type of plot, or they'd given up something that they loved for no good reason, or that they were just being lied to. Um, and you also have people coming to terms with the fact that like sometimes adult friendships and adult relationships are hard. Interfamily relationships are hard. It is difficult to get along with your brother and sister when you're both at different stages of life. Like for me with my siblings, we've only really started to become friends after we got into our 20s. We were friends like when we were like kids, but then after that you kind of fall away as you go through so much changes and you have like different friend groups and like things are cool and you don't want to hang out with people, and then you kind of leave people behind in the dust, and then you kind of realize that actually that doesn't matter. What really matters is that we're family, that we can take care of each other, and that we love each other. And that's kind of getting over jealousy of family hanging out with other people when you really want them to be with you. And just how to stick up for someone in a way that they would appreciate, and while not sidelining them into something that you believe just because you think it's right for them. You can't and shouldn't live vicariously through anybody, but sometimes that's really hard to see when you go at something with the best intentions. And this movie addresses that really well. And like one of my favorite things is the world is at the end of the film when the two characters are kind of driving away. The younger sister says, "Oh, well, now you can go back to like your painting and you can do this and we can have a ton of fun." And her older sister says, "Actually, I think I'm going to take some time to myself." Um, Her decision in order for self-betterment and to recovery and to self-love isn't to follow somebody else's plan, it's to follow her own. And it's something that she's kind of taken into consideration over the past like few minutes of the film, where drastic parts of her life have just been changed. It teaches you how to interact, or it shows how like some people don't really love you, they just want to use you. But in a fun comedic way that still gets the point across of like understand your surroundings. Don't go into anything blind. Hold to yourself and love yourself and honor those around you as best you can. But sometimes you need to stick up for people in situations that are going to suck. You're going to have to put yourself in the line for somebody that you really care about. And not putting yourself in the line can lead to consequences for that other person if they don't know how bad something is. It's a beautiful, fun film. I took my mom to see this film. She enjoyed it quite a bit. Not as much as I did, but it any film that I like can kind of take my mom to is just a fun time. Like last year was Banshees of Inisherin and Everything Everywhere All at Once. And so like it's just kind of fun to see movies with, of course, the two of you, like some of my closest friends on this earth. And also just with my mom, who I love and who I've had to like fix my relationship with. And so my mom's awesome, by the way. And so just kind of realizing that people matter in a way that's not just my perception of them. It's like loving, respecting, and enjoying the intrinsic value of the God-given human life is a wonderful thing. And I know that that's probably not what this movie tried, or what Needham and Zor tried to do at the start, but it's what I took away from it. And it's what I really love about it. I also find this film to be really funny, and it is a total package small film for me. I love the fact that it's her first film. I love that something that this fresh and this vibrant and just this beautifully designed. I think she said she'd been working on this film for like a long time. Like this is like her baby. Like she's been working on this film, I think she said like half a decade or like 7 years or something. I can't really remember. Don't quote me on that. It was literally a year ago when I looked for it. But I love hearing stuff like that. And when you kind of go into a movie where the director is showing you their most honest version of themselves, because again, the budget of this one was $2.7 million. She wasn't trying to impress anybody. She was just trying to put to screen her baby, right? Like something that she loved and she felt so deeply connected and that she wanted to represent. And this film just does everything for me, man. And I was going back and forth between Godzilla Minus One, Barbie, and Polite Society. All three 10 out of 10s, including the other two, 4 and 5s, and Spider-Man. Like so many 10s came out last year. Great year for some movies. But this one just, I think this one just does it all for me. And because it's got a slightly happier comedic tone to it than the holdovers, it's kind of in the same genre-ish of film, but they come at it from completely different ways. And again, I think that's also one of the beauties of cinema is that you can tackle the same problem in a different way and learn to love something new. Like my takeaway from the holdovers is not the same as takeaway from the Kills of the Flower Moon, which is not the same takeaway as from Barbie or from Polite Society or Godzilla Minus One. You can learn about yourself and about others and about the world because of the lenses that movies provide. And this movie is just one of those greatest films of all time for me. I don't think it resonates with everybody, but I also think that that's the beauty of film. It doesn't have to. You can watch what you want, love what you want, but keep watching, keep enjoying, because cinema, as Carter said before, is fantastic, and this film's a one of a kind for me. So yeah, go out and find your own one of a kind films. They're awesome.
I'm so happy this was your number one. When you said Godzilla minus one as was my number two, I was cheering you as you saw. I was like, because as much of a masterpiece as Godzilla is, th
Mhm.
this is your movie, dude.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
rooting for this because I thought Barbie was gonna be close to this one, but I was really rooting for this to be your number one of the year, and I'm glad it is
yeah.
because
Me too, man.
it's your movie.
It is. It's my movie, dude. I love
Yeah.
this film.
And what's her name? Uh, Priya Kansara, incredible performance. One of the best
Oh
performances of the
yeah.
year for real. Up there, and Nina Manzoor, just incredible directorial debut. They're both newcomers. They're both their first acting and directing, respectively. Cannot wait to see what they do in the
Hmm.
future.
Yeah, totally agreed. You guys got anything else to add, or are we all wrapped up, guys?
I mean, we didn't even mention Gerard Butler in Plane. What a performance.
I didn't see it, man. I
Maybe one
couldn't,
of the
again,
performances of the year.
dude, I'm not wasting my 50 cents to explain.
Oh, good old
Um,
Captain Brody Torrance.
Goofy. Shout out to Ryan. His favorite movie was Boy and the Heron.
True.
Very respectable.
What was Joe's favorite film of the year? Do you
Joe's
know?
favorite film of the year was Oppenheimer.
Okay.
Very respectable. Let's go through Joe's real quick for him.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe should we? Yeah. Sorry we're stealing your thunder a little bit, Joseph, but the Joseph representation, here we go. Hold on. Where's it at? Okay, interesting. Because Warren, you have Origin as a 2024 movie, right?
Yes.
Okay. He
It
has
like
it at
yeah,
yeah.
it technically came out in 2023, but didn't get a wide release until 2024.
Yeah, so like I consider that a 2024 movie. Joseph has it at number two for him. So that's one I man, I, mystery screenings at Regal, they all suck.
Monday
And
mystery movies
the one
haven't
I
been let
skip
down yet.
the one I skip is Origin, a
No
movie I actually wanted
way.
to see. Yeah.
Oh.
I'm like, pissed me off, man. But apparently it's great. I want to see it. I will. It'll be on my 2024 list if if I see it because it's a 2024 movie. But Joseph's top 10. Number 10, Wonka. Number
What?
9. Number 9, Scrapper. Number 8's The Holdovers. Number 7's Past Lives. Hated
Hmm.
that movie. Number 6 is Perfect Days. Wanted to see that. Number 5 is Poor Things. 4 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. 3 is Barbie. 2 is Origin. 1 is Oppenheimer.
So yeah, Spider-Man is hands down our highest rated and most recommended film
Yeah, I mean,
of this
yeah,
year.
easily, including Joseph. Yeah,
So if you
solid.
take away nothing else from this, go watch
Go
that
watch
movie.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Michael.
Does he not like it or did he not watch
No,
it?
he hasn't seen it yet. I've tried to get him to watch it so many times.
Well, this has been an absolute blast. I'm not gonna lie. I love talking about like the greatest hits. It's just
Yeah,
so much
these are
fun.
some of our most fun episodes. They're a blast.
Really looking forward to the 2024 review.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're like 1/3 of the way there.
Yep. Come back in August 2025. We'll talk about our favorite movies from this year.
This is like when we did the Easter egg hunt at Christmas because we kept forgetting.
Where you celebrate all the Christian holidays in one day, man.
The same
Dang.
day.
Peak
Oh.
cop activities right there. Merry
Oh.
Christmas. Go find your eggs in the snow. Ugh. Wonderful.
Cardi, would you like to do the honors, sir?
I would love to. It's always a blast to talk to you guys. Thanks for jumping in. Thanks for finally scheduling it to get this done.
Heck yeah.
And until next time, we are the Monkeys, and talking about movies is our business.